Hi, I went outside this morning. Don't believe me? Well, I saw the weather for the first time, and it is slightly darker than I thought it would look. I'll go again this evening, because I really don't believe anything I saw. It was probably just something made up by, like, the blue-pilled liberals or some other weird American race. Either way, I'll tell you what I thought of the weather today. Wait, isn't Snow White? Like the Disney movie? No? What do you mean? Black Blizzard is a Geometry Dash level made by Crazy Man 50. Nowadays known as Carmel, Kermal, Karma L, whatever the f. After an infamously very rough verification, Black Blizzard was at the time the hardest level Crazy had made. The song wasn't revealed by name until after the level's verification, which led to a lot of people finding the song and sharing it, most often in Crazy's own Twitch chat, which he hated. The level got released like 5 years ago, which I know doesn't say much, but still. The level got heavily nerfed because Crazy wanted to be a buzzkill for all the 0 viewers that wanted to beat the level in its top 5 state. Besides that, the level does look absolutely excellent, especially for the time. The level has some very strong vibes, maybe even the strongest vibes in the entire game. Themed after the average Chinese winter, ash falls from the sky in the first part, with some of the most unorthodox timing gameplay in any level at the time. Black Blizzard was really the first level that popularized double clicks. Whether or not this was a good thing is up to you to decide, but you can't deny the impact this level had. The pre-drop is brutally difficult and insanely long, but at least it looks good and plays unique. The build-up kinda just continues the vibe that the pre-drop had, but with a North Korea touch. Radicals aim at the orbs in the order you should hit them. This part is also great, which makes the level officially clickbait. After this, a very brief title screen and the drop part. The drop decides to use possibly the most wild looking UFO part right away. The tornado in the background is also there, just blowing wind, you know, because it's a tornado. I've always liked the default blocks used here though. They fit in with the vibe of the entire part very well. This part really feels like you're in a blizzard, with everything being especially deadly, and if something is not deadly, it's fragmented. Therefore this part does feel very fragile, but actually in a good way for once. The gameplay also helps with the very fragile feeling of the entire level. All of these positive aspects really do carry over into the ball right after. The flashes in this entire part feel like lightning strikes, being very flashy and impactful, while also being brief and bright. This also carries into the ship as well. The brief cube right after builds up very well to what I would describe as the second drop inside of the drop. Crazy Man 50 found a cloning device that barely works apparently, because this duel is wacky as hell. This would probably be the part that Mr. Beast would use in a thumbnail. I have to be honest here, if you held a gun to my head and asked me to explain how the fuck this part works, I would just say shoot me. Just turn the lights off. Because that's what Crazy did here. This part is simultaneously harder to see, easier to see, more chaotic, and less chaotic than the part before. How he did that, I have no clue. That's called talent, I guess. This part once again has constant flashes, which makes it very bright compared to the part before. It also has a pinwheel effect in the background, which actually for once doesn't feel completely out of place or stupid. The mountains look really weird, but you don't really notice when you're playing the level or watching a video of it, to be completely honest with you. It's just the use of this 1.0 gradient on like these just basically non-decorated triangles in the background. It looks weird. The part caps off with a couple blue orbs. This sets you up very well for the infamously nerve-wracking ending, with the ship and wave being infamously stupid easy. But because the part's pretty much exclusively feel-based and not really muscle memory-based, especially not compared to the rest of the level, it's extremely infamously chokeable. This is made even worse because you can't see what the fuck you're doing, just like the ending of High. But unlike that ending, choking here feels stupid. This part does close up the level pretty much the best way it possibly could. As an overall package, Black Blizzard is still one of a kind. The intensity and vibe and gameplay have aged so well and have shaped the game in so many ways, I can't even begin to explain. I do have to say the decoration doesn't look specifically great, but for a level like this, that's really not the focus. This level has had a lot of influence on all types of weather out there. I mean, for fuck's sakes, blizzards have actually become racist outside of GD. Either way, Black Blizzard deserves all the praise it gets, and stays as a challenge for most GD players out there. But what if we went to Africa? I thought they blessed the rains down in Africa, what the fuck? Sunset Sandstorm, also known as Susan, pronouns she, her, is a sunset themed level with a sandstorm, made by Crone44. Obviously slightly inspired by Black Blizzard, this level has a very unique structure, which is slightly reminiscent of Black Blizzard in a lot of ways, because both have an incredibly hard beginning, even if they go about it in completely different ways. Susan is very repetitive, while Black Blizzard actually stays very unique the entire way. Susan has the same structure like 20 billion times at the beginning, with slight diversions whenever the song decides to add an extra element in. Speaking of which, the song actually just sounds like somebody trying to do the We Will Rock You whilst not knowing what We Will Rock You sounds like. This pre-drop is stupid long. It's like it's a Coaretta long. That's not even an over-exaggeration. It really is. Like, Jesus Christ, Susan, you're really boring. Anyway, after we all shamed Susan for being boring and basic, we get into her more quirky and different side. We really can't pin her down here. The part, once again, has some very repetitive gameplay, with similar diversions here and there to the first part. But unlike the first part, it's not the same game out the entire way. Way to go, Susan! Good job! Get out of your comfort zone, girl. We all know you can do it. After getting sand into your eyes, mouth, nose, and any other hole you have in your body, you can also get sunburned, because that is very necessary. As a simulation of the average beach, it's very, very, very complete. Once again, I have no clue how to describe this part, but that doesn't really matter that much, because this part only goes on for like half a Coaretta, which is still very long, but it's still a lot shorter than the parts before it. The song also slowly builds up throughout the entire part, with the climax being Crone somehow kidnapping the sun and using it in its title card. Jesus Christ, what a fucking flex. The part that comes right after it is the drop, and similarly to Black Blizzard, it's not even the hardest part of the entire level. Also similarly, for some reason there are mountains in the background, but this time with the sun instead of a fucking tornado. Crone really just one-upped Crazy in literally every single way when it comes to the weather, didn't he? This part does have like a couple of awkward movements, especially the saw blades. Like, they move a bit jankily, especially compared to how polished the rest of the entire level is. Thankfully, that is pretty much the only blemish this entire level has. Game Over joins the conversation. Why he made the wave part this bright, I will never know, but it looks fucking fantastic, so I really don't care. Thankfully, unlike Game Over, this part doesn't last 2 whole Coarettas. Block design gives Mirage vibes, which is weird because the blocks can still kill you. Not to mention the gameplay of this entire part is very weird and unique, which is not very surprising to be completely honest. The ending has some very sus looking ball gameplay and some very non-sus looking ball gameplay. The level ends with an end screen. This level goes so hard, it's awesome. It has excellent vibes, very stupid gameplay, and a repetitive first cube. What more could you want? On top of that, the atmosphere the level creates is only challenged by the level that inspired it. Excellent level overall. Wow, the weather really did suck. Hey, but at least the levels were good. Black Blizzard and Sunset Sandstorm are some of the most unique and influential levels in this entire game. I decided to leave levels like Shape of the Sun and Misty Mountains out for now, because Black Blizzard and Sunset Sandstorm are just on a completely different level entirely. Black Blizzard was one of the biggest releases in the game's history, while Sunset Sandstorm is an absolutely excellent take on the Black Blizzard vibe, done completely differently. I would really appreciate it if the weather was updated to reflect such masterpieces again.